Welcome back, gangster fans. This is your host, JJ Wilson, and for this video, I'll be covering the first chapter in Volume 3 for GANGSTA Cursed. I believe this volume came out on October 10th. I purchased it online, and I got it in the mail by the 13th of October 2017. And yeah, it's been a long time since I covered the side story for GANGSTA. It wasn't that long ago I did a review for GANGSTA, which was back during the summer. But I believe the last video I did was, I believe, chapter 6. It was way back in like February of this year, 2017. I mean, it was crazy. And that's about 8 months. Yeah, 8-month wait for this review to come out. And there have been no translations online for me to find, well, unless you had to read word for word, but I'd rather get it on print, like as the panels come out. You know, I don't want to read like a separate paragraph and all that. But enough of that. Let's get into the review. And so for the cover page, we got the destroyers. We got the main crew for the second destroyers here. Of course, we got on the far right, that's Mini-Me, and next to him is Maverick, who is the leader of the team. In the middle, we got Spies. There, he's at the center. And to his right is Striker, and then on his right, Striker, is Beretta, and that consists of 5 people on the team overall for the second destroyers. Okay, so we picked up where we left off. Spies going back to the gun shop. He's trying to look for his teammates again. He's looking for Maverick and Mini-Me because he left them behind over there. Actually, he was trying to get away from them because Mini-Me was about to kill him for betraying their cause of eradicating all Twilights. So Spies decided to go back over there. Maybe he could convince them to change their opinions about Twilights. But instead, nobody's there. The shots burn off. The next thing you know, we have Luca Cristiano and Joel Revo coming back. Well, not coming back, but they're heading over to the location as to where Joel's son and wife are. And so instead they see Spies over there. They meet them. And so upon seeing these guys, Spies panics, man. He's like, oh crap, these are normals, I gotta get out of here. But interestingly enough, Luca shows he has some speed. He has a lot of speed here. And this surprises Marco, so he pulls out his pistol, he shoots at him. And Marco flips over Luca. He's trying to get out of the bullet's way. He does. And Spies is like in his mind, like, wait a minute, this guy, the way he moves, is he a superhuman normal? Is he like us, the hunters? You know, I found that kind of interesting because Loretta Cristiano, his daughter, she never really possessed superhuman qualities, you know, as far as speed and strength is concerned. So I thought that was kind of fascinating, unless Luca Cristiano is just that good of a quick draw with the pistol. So Luca tells him to stop where he is, Spies. And then Joel Revo is asking Spies, where are they? Where's her son and his wife and her daughter Connie? And so Spies hears this and he has to tell them, oh, your son and your daughter, they're dead. I'm sorry. My friends killed them. You know, and of course Joel is very disappointed to hear that. Obviously, as a grandmother, also with Constance. But Spies does tell Joel Revo and Luca Cristiano that Connie is alive, and he left her in the alleyway not too far from the gun shop location. And it's very imperative that Luca Cristiano find her before she ends up dying as well. And so upon hearing that, Luca Cristiano, he doesn't really believe what this kid is saying. So he's like, okay, your friends killed Joel Revo's son and his wife, but you let the little girl live? I call bullshit on that. But once again, Spies implores Luca, like, please, I don't care if you believe me or not, but she is alive. That much I know. You have to go find her before it's too late. And the flames are starting to intensify, and Luca's henchmen are telling them they need to get out of here before they too get fucked up by the fire. And so before they leave, Luca Cristiano stops Spies one more time and he's asking, hey, which side are you really on? Are you really on our side? Or are you on the side of your friends, the hunters? And Spaz tells him, I really don't know. I really can't ask you that. I can't answer that. So Luca Cristiano, he makes up his mind. He's going to go find Connie. And he wants Joe Ravo to go back to his club. So that's what's going to happen there. Okay, second part of this chapter. We're going back to the fight. And in the last chapter that we see, we got the twins here. Sonya and Natalia. Now, Natalia is the one that's always smiling. The extroverted twin. And she uses a sledgehammer to fight. And to the left, to Stryker's left is Sonya. She uses a machete and she's wearing black stockings. So she's the introverted one. She doesn't really say anything. She just kind of mums and stuff. So they're attacking Stryker. And the fight's getting pretty good here. And one of the twins, Sonya, the one with the machete, she manages to get Stryker. She cuts his shoulder. And of course, the other twin is happy that her sister cut Stryker, but because she's quiet, she doesn't say anything. Sonya's like, "Hey, you're too slow." So the other twin read her expression. She's like, "I'm not slow. You were just going too fast. I was just bullshit. I was playing around." And Stryker got tired of her talking, and he almost hits them. Of course, the quiet twin, she had to save the younger twin from getting hit. And Stryker's like, "Man, all that talking is giving me a headache." And then Natalia's like, "Oh, we can make it so you can never have a headache again." So they're happy that they're playing around with this guy. Meanwhile, we have Howell, who fought Stryker in the last chapter, and I believe in the beginning of chapter 5 of GANGSTA Cursed. Of course, he got his ass kicked by Stryker, and so he's barely conscious right now, and he's dreaming about the one time with Daniel Monroe, his boss. And so he's thinking back to the time where he was trying to sacrifice himself for Daniel Monroe. And so in this particular scene, the Monroe family, they were fighting off some anti-Twilight faction. So they were shooting against them. And so they're trying to come up with a way of getting out of there, to get out of their little assault. And so Hal suggests that him and his team of Twilights create a diversion so they can draw those anti-Twilights out and give Daniel Monroe the time to escape out of there. So Daniel Monroe has to warn Hal, "Hey, don't rush to your death. Don't use you being a Twilight as a reason to go die for my sake. The reason why I hired you into my family is because I need your abilities. And I need your intelligence." If you're going to risk your life, if you're going to sacrifice yourself, do it for the family. Do it for everybody on our side. Don't just do it for me. The child standing right behind Howard, he's telling, "Hey, we can go balls out, huh?" And Daniel Monroe's like, "Yeah, sure, go nuts." And finally, Daniel Monroe once again reiterates, "I can't have my own men sacrifice themselves for me. That'll make me look really bad." Yeah, of course it'll make you look bad, dude. After all, Daniel Monroe is actually tricking all of his friends and family for his own little agenda. If you guys know what I mean. So we go back to the present, and Hal's regaining his consciousness, and we see Stryker is defending himself against the twins, and his partner Beretta, she has Chow in a chokehold around his neck with her whip, and she's complaining that, "How come you having all the fun and I'm not?" Beretta's like, "I want to play with them too." And so the extrovert twin, Natalia, she hears that. She's like, "Oh, you want to play? Okay, let's play then." Now, Beretta didn't hear that. And so Natalia goes right at Beretta. And she's like, "Whoever busts the most heads gets to win." And Stryker, man, he ends up saving Beretta from getting smashed to pieces by Natalia. And so Chow, now that he kind of got released from Beretta's whip, he tries to smash Beretta on the ground, and both Stryker and Beretta get out of the way. And Beretta's getting a little tired of Chow because he insists on trying to get after her, and she tells him that she's like, "I'm bored with you. I don't want to play with you anymore." and she uses a whip and smashes Child's face up, man. I mean, this next scene is nasty. I mean, it was so bad she cut his eyeball out, one of his eyes out. I mean, it was ugh. Woo! She got a nice shot in. And then Stryker uses that advantage to try to knock him out for good when it's time for, but it gets blocked. It gets blocked by Howell. Howell is back up on his feet again. In retaliation, Howell uses his side and he manages to get a strike on Stryker. He cuts his shoulder up. So now Stryker has 2 wounded shoulders. But guess what, man? That doesn't faze Stryker. That doesn't faze him at all. It's crazy. And the twins and Child are asking Howell if he's alright. You know, we thought you were a goner. And Howell's like, well, thanks to you twins, I'm back up on my feet now. Thanks. I owe you one. But like I said, Stryker, man, he's laughing this shit off. You know? And he's so disgusted at what he's looking at. He's looking at these Twilights acting human-like. You know, having passion and care for their friends and stuff. You know, he's telling them it's making them disgusting. It makes him want to puke. You know? And Beretta's smiling over the fact that Stryker is not fazed by what just happened to him. You know, he's got 2 wounded shoulders, but he's shrugging it off like they're scratches. And he makes a declaration like, all y'all a piece of shit. Every single one of y'all. I'm gonna fuck you guys up, and then I'm gonna fuck up this whole town. And I'm gonna destroy every last one of you. So Stryker is not playing around, man. I told you, this kid's a beast. And yeah, later on in those 2 chapters, man, Stryker's gonna go ham. He's gonna go ham once again, so. Whew. Man. Anyway, next part of this chapter, we going further into Gastelum. We get to see more action of the anti-Twilight faction. And they're basically using the same tactics as the Hunters. They're destroying property. They're using gas bombs and fire grenades to smash up the buildings and stuff like that to burn them out. Because they're trying to find any kind of Twilight they can. Really the weaker Twilights, the ones that they can handle in packs and kill them off. And so they got one of the Twilights on the ground and he's crying. He doesn't want to die. And then we got a group of humans. They're about to kill this Twilight. But look who comes in and saves the day. My main man Galahad. Galahad knocks one of them out. And he's like, yeah, you want to play with some freaks, huh? Why don't you come to me then? And of course, one of the humans is like, hey, we need backup. It's the guild. It's a guild member. And they know not to mess with a guy like Galahad on one-on-one because he's an A-rank Twilight. He's one of the better Twilights out there. And then we get to see a younger version of Housen along with his partner Guy Wing. And they're teenagers in this arc. I think they're just maybe 12, 13 years old apiece. And so they're going to work. They're putting in that work against these anti-Twilights, these humans. So eventually Galahad finds Rick, and I'm assuming Rick is the so-called leader of this little faction going around town. So Galahad confronts him, and he ends up knocking all of his goons out, along with his 2 helpers, Housen and Guy Wing. And they have Rick pinned to a wall. He has himself pinned to a wall. And Galahad's basically asking him, alright, what's going on here, man? Why are you guys attacking the Twilights? Galahad also assumed that because the Twilights were attacking our Gastelum and indiscriminately killing the Twilights, that they also were in cahoots with the Hunters, the Destroyers. So Rick responds like, I don't know any Hunter. I never seen those guys before. My boys were just taking advantage of all the chaos. That's all we were doing. We don't know anything. And later he confesses that, well, some of our guys decided to hit the Monroe compound. There was another group of anti-Twilights. And they got a lot of reinforcements. I don't know if the Monroe family will be able to hold those guys out for long. And this leads us to the next scene. And we got the handymen, the stars for the main story. And they're in this chapter. So Warwick is surveying all the damage that's been going on in the compound, and he's seeing all these guys, they're continuing their assault inside the Monroe estate. And he's scanning the area, he's trying to find that leader. and eventually he does find a guy. It's a guy with brown hair, and he's got a pistol in his hand. And so Warwick spots him. And then we got the other half of the handyman, Nicholas Brown. He's going to work. I mean, he's cutting dudes up. He's making them pay for trying to get inside the estate. And then he finds one of them, and he's about to kill this one anti-Twilight guy. He's about to kill him. And so instead, the dude gets shot up in the head by Warwick. And Warwick is saying, yeah, man, my bad for spoiling your fun, but I do have some good news for you. I found our leader. I found our main guy. He's hiding in the back like a little bitch. Go get him. And we briefly see Miles and Diego taking cover from all the gunfire between the Monroe family and anti-Twilight faction. And so the leader of this pack, he's telling those guys, we need to find a way to get inside that place, man. And we need to find a way to kill one of these Twilights that's messing up our guys. But it's too late. That Twilight Nicholas Brown has already found a guy. And he's ready to fuck him up. But that's not what actually happens. But yeah, that's what it looks like in the beginning. But Galahad tells Rick from back inside the city, like, man, you guys fucked up. I know you fucked up, right? Either two things is gonna happen to your boys, man. Either they're gonna get their heads chopped off, or they're gonna get filled full of holes. Anybody stupid enough to mess with the Monroe family are already marked dead men. They just don't know it yet. I know that's right, Galahad. Ain't that the truth? And so the final part of chapter 7, you have Mini-Me, aka Roast Boy. Roast Boy going to work. He's killing more Twilights off. You know, he's breaking the sweat, and this is actually a foreshadow here because he's sweating awfully hard. You know, of course he's going to work, but later on in this series, this volume, you're gonna find out why. And we hear Maverick over here, and Maverick is crazy. This girl's a trip, man. She's a beast, but she's crazy. Like this whole time she's literally talking to herself, and she's talking to her long lost companion or adopted brother Abel. And the way she's talking to this guy, you would think that he was the one giving her all the orders to kill out these Twilights one by one. And so she's talking to Abel, even though he's not there, he's dead. And she said, oh, I killed all of them. And she's holding like a piece of his hand. It's just disgusting, man. Maverick's like telling Abel, they all did such a good job, our team. Mini-Me, Striker, Beretta. And then her expression changes. As for Spies, she's like, I don't know what's gotten into him. He was always such a good boy. I know it's not his fault. Yes, Abel, I know, you're right. It's like she's having a conversation. Mimi's looking at this girl like, man, she's just tripping balls. What's she talking about? And then he sees something very ominous. And what he's seeing is 4 more members of the Pocket Guild. It's the backup that Keith was suggesting from his guys early in the chapters, from I believe chapter 4. And so this is the backup. And I could tell back then, man, Gina Parkley had a lot of subordinates. She had way more subordinates back then than she does currently in the main story. And so we have these 3 guys and this girl. And the one with the glasses is Arnold. The guy with the tattoo and the mohawk style is Jared. And the little dude with the hood is Nero. And I believe the last girl's name from doing my research is Liam. Leanne. So those are the 4 Twilights that are about to fight Mini-Me and Maverick here. And Maverick is still talking to herself. Man, Spies is such a problem child. I guess the only thing we can do now, once I find him, is to train him again. And she has this real creepy look on her face, man, because she sees that she's not alone. I was like, man, that's a crazy way to end the chapter. Just her looking all crazy and sick. But that's the end of chapter 7. We're going to move on with chapter 8. Chapter 8 is just as suspenseful and even more gory. So stay tuned, guys. I'll be back.